Good morning.
Good morning.
We're so thankful for you guys, having us here and letting us kind of share. And this is something we've been wanting to do for actually quite some time. And we were formulating some thoughts as you were preparing for a workshop you have coming up and a presentation. So we hope you guys have a lot of fun with us today. So I'm Scott Piner.
And I'm Mark Caribou.
And we both work in content creative services here at Elgin Community College. And today we want to talk about humor, creativity, and leadership and how those all three kind of work together, not just in the classroom, but also in our everyday lives and the work environment and overall for the culture here at ECC.
So, hey, Dad.
Hey.
Hey, remember that $500 you were gonna give me if I made the dean's list this semester? I got good news.
Uh-huh.
Yeah? You get to keep your money.
Thanks.
So, excuse me, where's the library at?
You know, I don't know if you know this, but you should never end a sentence with a preposition. Cops do it all on TV, but it isn't proper, so to speak.
No, excuse me, pardon me. Where's the library at, moron?
Very good. Got any more?
Yeah. So, hey, we got high school graduation coming up in 6 months.
Yeah.
What are you gonna be
excited.
doing after graduation?
Well, I'm planning on going into farming. It's what my father did, and it makes me. It's just gonna make me good money.
So what kind of farming? Wheat, livestock, corn?
I don't know. There's so many fields to choose from.
Oh. So, a buddy of mine is majoring in veterinary medicine and minored in taxidermy.
Hmm.
Yeah, either way, you get your dog back. So, your son's in college. What's he taking?
My son, he's taking every penny I have.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So you don't have to be a comedian, right, Mark?
No, you don't have to be a comedian,
But
but we do the jokes just to kind of lighten you up, lighten the mood and everything.
yeah.
So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have everybody stand up. We're gonna do a little bit of a circle here. Okay? Right, so everyone in this row, just move your chairs back behind you.
Is this gonna be active?
It's gonna be active.
All right.
So, and then,
For those of you online, just play along.
okay, Heather and Bonita, if you want to come in here to this one,
They're throwing a ball.
and Scott, come on over here.
Yep.
So this is what we're gonna do.
Tyler here. Good to see you, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna toss this bean bag to somebody, and then what you do is once you get the bean bag, put your hand on your head. First of all, you're gonna call the name of the person you're gonna throw it to. You catch it, put your hand on your head. And then when you get it, you gotta throw it to somebody that doesn't have their hand on their head. So I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna go, Scott.
And then I throw it to somebody.
Yes, I'll be the last one.
So I go, Heather.
Christian,
Tyler. Ian. Bonita.
know your name.
Ryan.
Ryan.
And Mark.
Paying attention. Okay, everyone can take their hands off their head. Everyone remember who they threw their beanbag to. Okay, Scott.
Heather.
Christian,
Tyler. Ian. Bonita.
Ryan.
Mark.
All right, very good. Now we're gonna try this one more time. Scott.
Heather.
Scott.
Christian,
Heather.
Scott.
Christian,
Ian.
Heather.
Christian,
Ian.
Ryan,
Scott.
Ian. Heather.
Christian, Ryan,
Ian. Bonita.
Ryan.
Mark.
All right. Nobody dropped it.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Now we got the blood flowing.
Excellent.
Woo.
Nice.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
All right, so what is humor?
Clicker wasn't working.
Oh, it was.
What is humor? When things don't work.
Was that our little, was that our?
That
little
was our,
fun?
that was our let's have a little fun.
Let's have a little fun. All right, all right.
So what is humor? Humor is a type of stimulation that tends to elicit the laughter reflex. When we use humor to lighten up situations, we make people laugh. You notice we started off telling jokes. That's because now your body is programmed to be, paying better attention. That's one of the things that laughter does. It brings us together as a group. You'll be more engaged with what we have to say today, and hopefully you'll even like us a little bit more at the end of this. That's the goal.
that even
Maybe not, so, I don't know.
So yes, we are gonna share a few laughs today, but why are these important? What can laughter do for us? It relaxes the whole body. Boosts the immune system, releases endorphins, protects the heart, lowers cortisol levels, lowers stress hormones, relaxes muscles, enhances resilience, adds joy to life, improves mood, enhances teamwork, helps diffuse conflict, eases anxiety and fear, lowers blood pressure, increases memory, helps oxygen flow to the brain, maintains a healthy blood sugar, promotes better sleep, and improves alertness, increases creativity, gives you energy, and improves relationships. Wow. Wow, just from laughing. Now, if a doctor could give you a pill to say, you can do all of this, you can feel all of this from this pill, and the only side effect is happiness, you would take it, right? But you don't have to take a pill. You just gotta laugh. You just gotta lighten up sometimes. But with all these benefits, why is there a problem? Here's the problem. 4-year-old laughs on the average of 300 times a day. 40-year-old laughs about 4 times a day. We're not doing well with this. Go to the next one.
Mhm.
Here's the humor cliff. We laugh and at our highest peak is at 18 years old. Remember when we were kids, we're always saying, because, childhood was so hard, we just can't wait till we turn 18 because life's gonna get better. Well, it's not really getting better. Once we hit 18, we just start a decline in how much we laugh. The good news, we get an upturn about the time we hit 80. So.
As we mentally return to.
Exactly. But here's the other sad part. Life expectancy for a man is 74 and 77 for a woman, well, a lady. So any positive about it, ladies, you get the last laugh. But we're just at that point where we just don't add enough laughter in our day, and we don't get all the benefits from that. We can really be a lot more healthier if we just take time to laugh. So let's see. Another few things.
I should go off my blood pressure medicine. I just.
You
started
should,
laughing.
you
Yeah.
should, that would help.
Yeah.
Yes, 15 minutes of laughter a day equals the benefits of 2 hours of sleep. One good belly laugh will burn 3.5 calories. And laughing for 15 seconds a day can add 2 days to your lifespan. Think about that. It's not that hard. So.
That means you could be immortal.
Yeah,
You had 2 days every day.
absolutely.
Exactly. We can go to the next one.
All right.
So by using all this, what we've learned, how can we put this into the classroom? But few things that, benefit us in the classroom with this is humor improves critical thinking and creativity. Our ability to problem solve and be creative is enhanced by humor. Humor stimulates our brain and releases dopamine. And that boosting dopamine helps us better engage in solving problems and to be more divergent thinkers, which helps us to be more creative. Humor also improves student engagement. When we use humor, it humanizes us to the people around us. It's easier to build a rapport with people that we come in contact with. Humor also shortens the path to make that connection with people. So not only does it help build rapport, humor gets us there quicker with people. People will tend to be more comfortable around you as well. The connection also helps with retention as well. Humor promotes a positive and safe classroom culture where students feel safe. They also feel a safe connection with the instructor, and they tend to be more involved with class. They also have better attendance and better grades. Who knew that there was a correlation between better grades and better attendance? Another benefit of laughter is that it massages your internal organs. Think about that. You know, what does that mean? Well, it sounds good, right? But basically, the thing is, it helps with your digestive system. It helps to keep you regular. So,
Hey, Mark, I'll be right back.
all right. So if you're having a good time in class and everyone's enjoying themselves and there's a lot of laughter going around, don't be upset if kids got to go up and go to the bathroom. It's your fault. You know, humor also improves memory and comprehension. As I mentioned earlier, humor releases dopamine into your system. When that's released, it activates your brain reward system, helps you to remember what was said. And also when we laugh, the stress hormone and cortisol decreases in your body, which also aids in memory memory retention and comprehension. Humor also promotes a safe and positive classroom environment. As I mentioned earlier, humor reduces anxiety and fears. This is also helpful in the classroom when you can help reduce the anxiety with going to school that, you know, some of our students have. A lot of them are kind of nervous getting into that classroom, but when you can use a little bit of humor, it's got a positive effect on them. You know, it also lets them know you've created a safe place within your classroom where students can feel more comfortable, which makes it easier for them to learn. And then humor helps to strengthen our relationship with students. You know, students sometimes fear the hierarchy relationship with their instructors. They can feel intimidated by, you know, seeing somebody of an authority figure. But using humor kind of breaks down that hierarchy and, you know, puts us on a level playing field with everybody. And it makes you more relatable to your students and establishes a human connection. Humor will also help to build stronger bonds in your students with your students, and that will also help increase trust. So our conclusion. Okay. Scott put this slide in. No, I don't like applesauce, so you don't need to do anything. But now I'm sure some of you are thinking, hey, Mark, that's great, you know, but I'm just not a funny person. So. Oh. That's okay. The point of all of this is not to turn your lectures or your classroom time into 60-minute stand-up routines. That's not the goal here. It's just incorporating a little bit of humor. And whatever you're doing, studies show that just attempting to be funny still has positive effects, which is great because you don't even have to be good at it to be effective. Okay? But humor is also a teachable skill where you can learn to be more funny. Adding humor to your teaching is not just about cracking jokes all the time. There's other ways you can do it. You can tell funny stories. You can show pictures. You know, memes are always a good thing that gets people laughing. You can even make a writing exercise in the classroom. You can put a funny photo up on the screen and then have everybody write a caption for the photo and then read them off in class. That's also a pretty good icebreaker that gets everybody laughing and, you know, just relaxed. Just be creative. There's so many ways to do this. Now, as far as what I'm saying about, laughing and what we're trying to do here, there's a book out there called The Regrets of the Dying. And they interviewed a bunch of hospice nurses who've had conversations with all of their patients and asked them, what was some of the biggest regrets that you never did in life? And one of the most common answers was they never took the time to really laugh and be silly. And it's kind of sad that to think that, when you look back at your life and you feel that, what are my regrets? And it's just not laughing and having enough fun. We're taking life too seriously. We just need to add a little bit more humor into that and, pardon my Dr. Fauci, but we need to flatten that curve. And we can do that, just one person at a time. When we do something, make that environment, a positive environment, using a little bit of humor, the people around you take that with you. They take that with them and they spread that. So I really think that we can do a better job of becoming a happier society if we just give it a little bit of work. One of the other things, just a little personal story, was back in 2020, and I'm a big late night fan. I love watching late night TV, and I've just done it for years. That's how I prep myself to go to bed. 2020 was not the best time for late night TV. It was so depressing. I actually wanted an escape for everything, but basically we were just reliving the day of just being at home and wondering where life's gonna bring us. At that time, my mother passed away in 2020. She was suffering from a brain tumor. And I'm just laying in bed at night watching TV, watching late night, and just getting more and more depressed. And I said, I finally can't take this anymore. So I started going through the TV, trying to find something else to watch, and I came across Friends. I've always liked Friends, so I figured, what the heck. And I just started laughing. And it just made me feel better just because I was laughing. And so it just got to a point, and to this day, every single night before I go to bed, I got Friends on. Whether it's just for 10, 20 minutes, it doesn't matter. Going to bed, just laughing a little bit before you go to bed just makes a big difference. You get a much better night's sleep. You're in a better mood right before bed, just by a couple laughs. So that's one big reason how that's changed for me. So that's all I have, but I do have a present for everybody. This is my mantra. This is a logo I made, and it's called "Make Somebody Laugh Today." Okay? So take the sticker and use that just to make spread a little happiness in the world. For those of you online, send me an email. I will give you a sticker. So.
The
And the next one,
that way,
Scott.
or just point towards the board.
All right, let's give Mark a round of applause.
Apple sauce.
All right, questions? No, not questions for Mark, but questions the improv game. All right, we're gonna do a little bit more. For those of you at home who aren't here, get your, here, come on, we're gonna do some fun here. You're missing out. So here's what we're gonna do. This is a fun quick little game, where we have to kind of take a situation and phrase it in a question, and then kind of go around, and people have to build on that. So if you don't, you have to respond with a question. So if you don't respond with a question, then you're out. Okay, and you don't want to be out. You want to be a part of this. So I don't know. It's Friday. Mark, what should we do for this weekend?
Why are you asking me?
I don't know, but I wonder what Ian's doing for the weekend.
What days are this weekend again?
Well, I have plans on Saturday, but what are you doing, Ryan, on Sunday?
Juanita, you're out. That wasn't a question. You answered the question.
Oh, I answered.
You gotta answer the question with a question.
Gotcha.
Ryan, can you keep it going?
What am I doing on Saturday?
I don't know. But I'm probably out now too. Answer. So.
What's Christian doing on Saturday?
Well, aren't people going to the polar plunge on Saturday?
Give yourself a round of applause. All right. All right, so questions, yeah, it's just another fun way to kind of keep the things moving, keep people on their toes, keep thinking. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna kind of shift from the idea of humor into also creativity. Mark talked about creativity in his presentation, and you know, what we find is that a lot of people so our titles are, you know, we're part of the creative services team, and so people are like, oh, you guys are always so creative, and it's like, you come up with the idea, and it's like, well, you know, I believe that everybody's creative. So like today we kind of want to talk about who has it, what is it, how does this pertain to, like, in the classroom, how does it pertain into our work environment, and really what we'll get into is it's really all about solving problems. Creativity, it's a part of all of us. I'm going to be using a couple different books today. I also did a training course last November, December, so I'll be using some of that part of it. But there's a book that was recommended called Creative Confidence by Tom Kelly and David Kelly. And I just want to quickly open up with the opening chapter or paragraph here. And it says, when you hear the word creativity, what do you think of next? If you are like many people, your mind immediately leaps to artistic endeavors like sculpture, drawing, music, or dance. You may equate creative with artistic. You may believe that architects and designers are paid to be creative thinkers, but CEOs, lawyers, and doctors are not. Or you may feel that being creative is a fixed trait, like having brown eyes. Either you're born with the creative genes or you're not. As brothers, again, these are two brothers, as brothers who have worked together for 30 years at the forefront of innovation, we have come to see this set of misconceptions as the creativity myth. It is a myth that far too many people share. And this book is about the opposite of that myth. It is about what we all call creative confidence. And at its foundation, it's the belief that we are all creative. So I don't know if that resonates with you. Hopefully it does in some way, because I think we are all creative, and often we do jump to like these artistic things, and we have to think about like, well, you know, why is it important in our lives? Why is it important? And we're going to get into that. So it's all of you. You all are doing amazing things. I think we've done some really great breakthrough ideas at ECC, but creativity is about that. It's about reimagining, or the capacity to imagine or build upon. And so sometimes, you know, I think that maybe we even struggle with that here sometimes, is like, well, it's like, well, you guys do this or you guys do that, but how as a team, how at ECC can we also build upon each other's ideas? How can we become more creative? How can we solve bigger problems? How can we help each other? All right. I know we sometimes, you know, you're gonna talk about silos, but how do we break down those? How do we get engaged with one another and do better work, right? That's what it's always about. So how do we do better work? But it's gonna come back to action. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. Is creativity is great. Like, we can come up with ideas all day long, but if we don't implement them, if we don't do anything about it, it's just an idea. And so here's a quote from the book of Creative Confidence. The combination of thought and action defines creative confidence. It's that ability to come up with new ideas and the courage to try them out. And sometimes I wonder if we, miss that courage. And I think about it, me personally, right? Like, maybe there's things that deep down that you want to do personally or professionally, and do we have the courage to act it out? So as we talk about creativity today, we're asking you at the games that we did, we're asking you just to be a little courageous with us and take a step out and try something with us here. So here's a few things on increasing creativity. This is from a book that we got at ECC not too long ago. It's called The Manager's Pocket Guide to actually Emotional Intelligence. And so emotional intelligence ties in with creativity very well. And they gave a few points, and I want to kind of talk through them here as we set the stage. Number one is remaining open to ideas. I worked for a boss one time, and I came in and I said, I think we should do this. And she just looked at me and she was like, we've tried that before. It didn't work. And you're like, well, in my mind, I don't remember what I said, but it didn't work because you didn't have the Pioneer energy behind it, right? Like you may have tried it, but it depends on who's a part of it, who's helping to activate it, right? And so again, about action. Like, what did you do? I don't know. Why didn't it work? And when people don't know why it didn't work, then that's a bad excuse, right? You need to know why it didn't work, and then how do we build on it? So they, part of this book, they sort of have this think tank of creativity that they run, and they're slow to criticize. They say be slow to, the people of creative confidence, they say also be slow to criticize and never say immediately that an idea will not work, no matter how crazy it seems. The second part is really to listen to the suggestions and ideas of others. And I don't know, I see it sometimes where I think I see people do a really good job of that. And there's other times where maybe it's the same person that keeps throwing an idea. Sometimes I'll throw a lot of ideas out there, but you have to, and so maybe it's like, oh, another one of Scott's crazy ideas, right? But so we have to really trust each other and like slow down and listen to each other, and then find out like, yeah, what is this person really saying? So you don't assume that they have maybe all the answers, or maybe that current way is the only way, but how do we build on, and maybe there's a nugget of truth in what they're saying, and so how do we help to understand what that is? Which leads to the next part of asking for more information. So if someone presents an idea to you, or even a student in the classroom, right? They've got this idea of something you're talking about, how, asking a clarifying question, tell me more about that. Can you give me some more information of what you're thinking about with this? So then you can mull it over, get others to look at the ideas too. And then you can kind of decide, like, is there a part of this that works? Is there a part of this that makes sense and that we should pursue further? And even if the idea maybe can't be adopted like in its entirety. And then this point here is encouraging people to work together, because good ideas often emerge from collaboration. And there are going to be sometimes where it's a bad idea, right? Not every idea is going to be a breakthrough idea, right? That's not what we're saying. But you have to start from someplace. And when we start to like plant little seeds, or we have an idea, we have to build with each other. So encouraging people to work together. And sometimes this can also be, maybe it's what we need to kind of step out around here about, is to bring different people in. Maybe I should see if Ian has 5 minutes at lunch to sit down with me and talk about an idea. I love talking to Christian when I see him, get coffee in the morning. But have I ever approached Christian about like, hey, what do you think of this idea? And so at ECC, maybe we kind of end up relating back to our same team. But maybe there's some ways that we can kind of break out of that and start to use some cross teams. Couple other points, structured brainstorming sessions. You can engage in these, but what this book also had talked about was that, it kind of hit me in a fun way. We were also listening to a podcast recently, and from a gentleman at the University of Chicago, Stephen Levitt, who, now I'm drawing a blank on his book, but you guys I'm sure have all read it. And he was talking about the fact that we often engage in brainstorming and it just doesn't seem to work. And it was so refreshing to hear that like other people struggle with it too. So I think we often just go into like, oh, let's have a brainstorming session. And they were saying really that's one tactic. That's just like one way to get ideas. And he was saying it's like often doesn't work. And they were really talking about, it becomes about, which I'll talk about a little bit later, about getting lots of ideas. You want to push for quantity of ideas, even outlandish ones at the beginning, just to get things rolling and to get the ideas going. So whether it's in the classroom, whether it's in your work environment, when you think about creativity, don't think about just one idea. Think about how can we create as many ideas as possible before we kind of settle on which one we want to start pursuing. And then they talk about process comments here, which are to challenge a group that might be stuck. So if you're stuck, process comments are observations about like what lies beyond certain actions or comments, and getting to the reasons of why. And so we're going to come back to that reason of why we're doing what we're doing in a minute. But when you do get a good idea, it's also important to recognize and reward. So if someone has a great idea, sometimes I'll bring these guys in like candy bars, sometimes, Mark, right?
Yeah, candy bars need to be bigger.
Bigger, okay.
Cash usually helps.
Bigger, cash is better too. All right, bigger and better, And so if we implement an idea, we want to also give that person recognition, like make sure that like we're saying, no, you came up with this idea, great job, proud of you, or the team, because again, it's often collaboration. And so it's how, the whole team may have been a part of that. And so thank you for the seed. Thank you guys for helping nurture that, and thank you for helping grow it, right? So let's be gracious to those around us for helping us to implement these good ideas. And then they also just talk about reading outside the field, your field of expertise. And I'm sure many of you already do that, but it's just kind of a good reminder, right? That a lot of us are subject matter experts in one thing, or I have certain interests that are different than Mark, and Mark has different interests that are me, great. And sometimes breaking out of that and finding readings about something else gives us a unique perspective. And so if we can take those unique perspectives and try to understand how others see the world, it opens up our ideas too. All right, now it's the time where we're gonna do karaoke, okay? Any volunteers? I'm kidding. But the Kellys, they talk about what's called karaoke confidence, building upon the creative confidence. And so karaoke confidence is like creative confidence, it depends on the absence of fear of failure and judgment. Did you guys know that you can spell judgment without an E or with an E? It's both okay. So no judgment here. However you want to spell judgment, I'm fine with, okay? All right. 5 guidelines that can improve your next karaoke experience and your innovative culture is, as Mark had mentioned earlier, it's keeping that sense of humor, right? So having a sense of humor, building on the energy of others. I think Mark and I really try to do this every day. Like we come in and we, not everybody has to, I think we're what's called extroverts. Is that right? I think so. I mean, I'm an extrovert, you're an extrovert. And so
It depends on what day it is.
yeah, what day it is. And so you want to build on the energy of others. And that doesn't mean that, you know, you have to come in every day and be jumping up and down. And I think it's also understanding that if Mark, there's plenty of days that I come in and I got a lot on my mind, or I'm not in the same space that I maybe am on other days, and to see that and to kind of mirror that and reflect that, right? So you can kind of, you want to make sure that you're mirroring sometimes what people are giving you and understanding their energy. But being able to tap into that is important for the team. And you want to also minimize hierarchy, as Mark mentioned earlier. You know, it's not just, I don't know, sometimes we go into a room and sometimes maybe the room is, maybe we don't have the table set up the right way or whatnot. And then all of a sudden it's like, you think you're going to come up with all these great ideas and it's just silence. I don't know if you guys ever experienced that, but we happen to happen in our team quite often. And so how do we break out of that? And I think sometimes maybe it's also like, well, I don't know, you're the boss, you come up with the idea, or I don't know, should I speak up? So we want to minimize that hierarchy, like understand that you have to kind of set that stage in the beginning of what the expectation is, right? Like, hey, we're here to just generate ideas. Great ideas can come from anybody in the organization, making sure that that's understood. And so then also valuing that team camaraderie and trust. But as Mark talked about earlier, it's really about that psychological safety. It's a psychological safety zone. You have to create an environment where people are also willing to or able to share. So if you've created an environment where, you know, you, like my boss before, years ago, when she was like, oh, that doesn't work. We've done that before. Like, it shuts me down, right? Like, I'm like, well, why would I bring another idea to you again? Because you've apparently tried everything, but your moment's not working. Why is that? So we have to be open to different ideas, and we have to defer judgment. And I went with judgment without an E on this one. So defer.
That's less judgment.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. And so defer judgment on at least temporarily, right? Again, it goes back to that idea of first we have to get ideas going. We have to build on it. We want to see where it goes, see if we can help make that idea better. So valuing that team camaraderie, trust, minimizing hierarchy, keeping your sense of humor. Again, we're here to, we're here to do good things, but it's about having fun as we do it, right? If we're not having fun, then we shouldn't be here. Here's a quick exercise. This is just by yourself. It's gonna be thank you, Mark. 3 minutes, and I might, 2 to 3 minutes. It's kind of fun. I've got some pencils here. This is called 30 circles. And so what I want you to do is you're gonna get this sheet, and for those on Zoom, I can email this to you after the fact. You're gonna have a sheet there and it's got 30 circles on it. And you just need a pencil or a pen. Anybody need one? Absolutely. Good catch. There we go. Nice. Anybody else need one? He's good? All right, good.
That's an
All right.
OSHA violation, by the way.
Right. Stab.
He didn't throw overhand.
You flipped into mom mode. It was like, don't.
Can I get some scissors now?
Absolutely.
I'll run them right over.
Right. All right, so I'm gonna set a timer here, and what you're gonna do is you are gonna have 3 minutes. And you're to draw as many, turn as many blank circles as possible into recognizable objects. Think of like clocks or faces, okay? So go. I want you to see how many things you can turn those 30 circles into. And if you're at home, you can also, if you want to start just drawing circles and just see what you can turn them into, go for it. This is a great warm-up exercise, so you can do it for a team building exercise at some point or a classroom exercise. Just keep working as you're working. One thing we're doing is fluency, 2 goals here. Fluency, which is the speed and quantity of your ideas. And then also flexibility, because ideas that are truly different and distinct. You guys are doing great. Get as detailed as you want with those circles too. Make them recognizable. We're over halfway there. About 30 seconds. It's good. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And look, oh my gosh, I stopped right at 3. Oh my, I gotta take like a screenshot of this. That's amazing. All right, perfect. All right, that's some good luck there. How did that feel? Was that easy, hard, fun? Was fun? Good, I like that. Did anybody get at least 10 things drawn in circles? 10? Good. Anybody at least 20? Ooh,
Kinda cheated, but.
well, no, did anybody break the rules and like combine any circles with others? Cool, awesome.
30 of them.
Exactly, yes. Exactly.
Love it.
Good.
It's innovation right there.
Was there?
Did anybody draw my logo? No? Okay. No prize.
It's kind of interesting, then you can kind of look to see if you have like a derivative, like a basketball, baseball, volleyball, you know, or is it distinct, like a planet, cookie, like happy face? Because they say, like, we often know from experience that it's easier to have a great idea if you have many to choose from. But if you have a lot of ideas that are just variations on a theme, you might really have only one idea with 29 other versions. So it's just a matter of how you look at it when you combine this fluency and flexibility, but you can, you know, generate a rich array of concepts to choose from. So great job, thanks for doing that. Keep that and something to build on. Some other quick ideas here is just kind of reinforcing what we've talked about, but putting biases aside at the start. again, we want to learn from others' perspectives. So this is an idea, like you were generating a bunch of ideas and that's awesome. And so then you can, when you share that, you're getting other people's input, you're seeing things from other people's points of views and perspectives. But again, brainstorming, it's like they said, it's rarely, this is from, the podcast I was referencing earlier. It's down here if you guys want to take a listen, I'll send that to you. Is rarely do I see great ideas come from brainstorming. Are repeated failures part of it, he was asking, or not having the right people in the room? And so brainstorm, it's again, the need for the group to buy into deferring judgment, going for volume. People underestimate the number of ideas. You really need to get to a good idea. So I think like, just continue to push, like in the classroom too, of like pushing your students to keep, taking their ideas further or more ideas, right? Like if it's a writing class, it's like, how do we, I think I see Andrea, she's a great writer, she's director of communications. Hi. So how do we take those, when it comes to writing, like how do we take it further, right? Like it's not just the first draft and boom, it's done, right? How do we take it further? Is there something else that could be incorporated here? Was there another angle to it? But the biggest thing, the most important thing, that comes back to that I mentioned, I think before, was naming the challenge that you're going to solve. And so they talk about naming the challenge you're going to solve before idea generation mode. So I think that's what's huge. And I don't know if we do enough of this around here too. I think we often try because we'll talk about data around here and we'll be like, okay, here's some data, now go, right? But like, do we truly define, like, is there a problem? And if so, what is that problem? And then do we agree on that that's the problem? Because maybe sometimes we're solving problems that don't even exist. Maybe we're solving problems that we don't need to solve. We were talking the other day, it's like, obviously a lot of great things happening right now, like enrollment's up, whatnot. I'm thinking like, is there anything that's wrong or broken that we need to fix or like put some renewed focus on? And if so, like, what is that? And what's the data saying about that? So they talk about this defining your problem. And so they say the quote up top is, framing the right problem is the only way to create the right solution. So they use this phrase of like, how might we? And so if you haven't done this, but maybe you're like, I do this all the time, or maybe you're like, well, that's kind of interesting, but how might we? The how is that there's many points of view. Might is that there's possibilities, and the we is inclusion. So they say down here, the how part assumes that there are solutions out there. It provides that creative confidence. Might says we can put ideas out there that might work or might not. That's okay, right? It's okay. Something might not work. Either way, they say it's okay. And we part says that we're going to do it together and build on each other's ideas. So I just love that. I think that's what it's about. So kind of like, how might we, I was going to do this exercise in here. I don't think we're gonna have time today, but just something to think. You can go back and frame it like, how might we, fix this? Or how might we change this? How might we create an experience that students are going to love? How might we create an environment where employees can thrive and do their best work? So think about that, and then that allows us to then frame it so that we're all a part of this. It's we, and we come up with multiple possibilities. There is in the book that Liz Wiseman, she is a global human resources executive at Oracle, and she wrote a book, did a study where she interviewed 150 different executives on 4 continents. And so she came up with this concept of everyone lies between what's being a diminisher and a multiplier. And diminishers exercise tight control in a way that underutilizes their team's creative talents. And if that's me, I'm sorry. If that's others, like, you might not think you're doing it, right? But it just like she found that everybody fell on this continuum somewhere. So you're either a diminisher or you're a multiplier. And a multiplier sets challenging goals and then helps employees achieve that kind of extraordinary results that they themselves may not have even known they were capable of. So think about it in that way as you leave too today. Or like, are you a diminisher or a multiplier, or where do you fall? And you're not one or the other necessarily, right? But how can we grow as being a multiplier? How can we grow in helping others achieve their ideas, achieve their growth, setting challenging goals for themselves? If we could, I think we got time. Just some of you may have seen this video before. Oops, how do I may have to click, oh. Maybe I didn't link it, it's here. This is a video that I really enjoyed, and I hope you guys will too. Simon Sinek here, it's 3 minutes, and I think it's.
You might need to reshare the screen. Okay. Just to make sure that.
I see.
Sound.
Okay,
Just-
so I'll let you help.
Thank you.
Heather's the master. Thank you, Heather.
Problem. Okay.
Thank you.
very much.
Hopefully volume will work.
If not, I can fix that too.
Leadership is perhaps
Oh. Oh.
one of the most misunderstood subjects in business. Leadership has nothing to do with rank. I know many people who sit at the highest levels of an organization who are not leaders. We do as they tell us because they have authority over us, but we do not trust them and we do not follow them. I also know people at low levels of organizations that have no formal authority, but they've made a choice. The choice to look after the person to the left of them, the choice to look after the person to the right of them, and we would trust them and follow them anywhere. Leadership is the awesome responsibility to see those around us rise. Every one of us, can choose to be the leader we wish we had. We lead our teams and we can lead our clients when we decide that we will do everything in our power to see them rise, to see them achieve their ambitions and their dreams. And this is what servant leadership means. I serve your dream rather than you serve my bottom line. And it's totally fine to have financial goals. It's totally fine to have metrics, because that becomes the proof of value that somebody wants to give you their money because they believe in you. It is proof positive. But the best leaders I know are students of leadership. There's no such thing as an expert leader. It doesn't exist. Like there's no such thing as an expert parent. It doesn't exist. Right? We are students of leadership. And even the most senior leaders constantly are reading books, reading articles, watching talks, having conversations all the time about leadership. They're always in learning mode. And I think for anyone who wants to be a leader, you have to choose to be a student of the subject. Like anything, if you want to be good at something, you have to study it. And the most ignored characteristic of leadership, we talk about vision and charisma. Yes, these are important. But I've known some wonderful leaders who don't have huge world-changing vision. I've known some wonderful leaders that are quiet and sit in the corner, but they all have courage. The courage to advance a vision, the courage to ignore the short-term ups and downs of the business, the courage to take risks on people, the courage to believe in people, the courage to speak truth to power, the courage to do the right thing and have integrity. I think courage is a very undervalued characteristic of leadership.
Perfect. So yeah, that goes back to the courage that we talked about at the very beginning with action, with our ideas. And so making sure that we can act and enact them, make them happen. So do I need to reshare? Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I should have done it differently. Yes. Yeah, you're good.
Share screen.
If you're gonna toggle back and forth again, yeah, if you're just gonna stay on the PowerPoint, then you can move there. Thanks.
Awesome. All right. Hope everybody on Zoom sees that we're back here to the innovation leadership slide. Those here in the room, we're kind of gonna wrap up now here. Whoops, I don't know why okay, there it is. So yeah, Simon, he has this quote here: leadership is perhaps the most understood subject in business, nothing to do with rank. Awesome responsibility, see those around us rise. No expert leader, we're all students of leaders. But again, coming back to that courage to do the right thing. So creativity, confidence, humor, they all go together. Again, kind of back to the beginning here, bad idea at IDEO and D School from our book here, Creative Confidence. Like I said, they seldom say that's a bad idea or that won't work. We've tried that before. But when, and I capitalize when, just like when we disagree, there's gonna be times we're just gonna disagree, right? We're gonna have I don't see it that way, I see it this way, or I'm not following Scott, right? Like, that's fine. Like when we disagree, with someone else's idea, that's okay, but we push ourselves to ask, what would make it better? Or again, like, how do I understand what you're telling me or what you're seeing? But then what would make it better? Or what can I do to add to it to make it a great idea? Or what new idea does this spur? So let's start from there and like, can we build on it? And if it goes nowhere, it goes nowhere. But then again, that's why we have lots of ideas that we generate to start from and to choose, like, how do we want to see this? And then when a group embraces that concept of building on the ideas of others, it can unleash all sorts of creative energy. I've seen it, I've seen it go both ways, I guess. And I think we talk about that a lot of times. It's just like, how do we know, like, when the team's like fully engaged and we see like, hey, they're all clicking, and we've seen it where it's not. And so then we want to address it and figure it out, but we want to make sure that there's all sorts of creative energy that can be unleashed. And this is just another quote here, kind of to wrap it up, but a good idea is, again, exchanging ideas within a group of people who trust one another without fear of judgment, less judgment, or failure can feel electric. So, all right, I think that kind of wraps it up here. So in summary, anything else you want to add? I'm looking forward to summer.
Can we get some of that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, let me just. All right.
40s are on their way.
No.
Wait 2 days, it'll be different.
All right. So, so in summary, I mean, I hope this was helpful. We talk about this a lot. Mark and I were just talking about it yesterday, that it's something that everybody needs, right? Like, we all need this, like every company, not just ECC, but this idea of creative confidence. I think in today's world too, we're now like, I'm seeing so many more people like trusting like AI and other things, like it's maybe helpful, right? But I want to make sure too, like, that we have confidence in our own ideas and each other, like confidence to trust each other, rather than before just going to like, now I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, right? But like just going to like some, chat GTP or something and to get an idea, but can we trust each other to like talk through data, talk through we're getting framing that problem, what we're trying to solve? How might we do that? And then as a team, like, can we trust each other to come up with, unique ideas and solve real problems? So.
Yeah, me, this has always just been something that's been important to me as far as using humor in just our everyday life. But now this kind of, sparked me to be a little bit more and start spreading that word a little bit more. So now this is what I am gonna be doing.
Yay!
Everybody gets a rubber chicken to keep on their desks, to remind yourself just to sit back, relax, and laugh and have a good time,
It's best holder.
okay? I'm not gonna rest till every desk in ECC has a rubber chicken on it. Those of you online, please email me. I'll make sure you get your rubber chicken. And we'll make ECC the happiest, funniest place on earth. I know they say that it's about Disney, but we don't have the overstimulated crying kids and overpriced
Near the bugs
food
either.
and gift shop. But speaking of Disney, if you ever go there, don't use the photo labs there. They're not reliable. I had seen one time I was there, I saw Snow White outside the lab singing "Someday My Prince Will Come," so.
All right, any questions for us?
Oh, rubber chicken.
Oh,
You get
yeah.
one.
All right. Well, thank you all so much and have a great, joyous weekend. I hope you have fun this weekend. Do something exciting, something fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.